Sterling. Luke Shaw's delivery and Bellingham is there! And England land their first blow at the World Cup. Pocket of space to Sterling. The ball is brilliant, the header is better. Right in the top corner. He gets up early. 6 England shirts to aim at. Is up there again, and Saka with a chance, and England score a second goal. But the rest from Saka, that looks okay, and then he just waits for it, and that's absolutely perfection. Kane's got Sterling waiting in the centre. It's in towards Sterling, it's 3-0. And that ball out there just sets up the little run from Sterling. He goes again. He's onside, and what a finish that is. He should leave it for his left foot, I think, but he just pokes his right foot at it. Sterling's found Saka. It's still Bukayo Saka. England score again. Saka takes it over, and he just passes it in the net. Look how many Iranian shirts are in the box. They back off him. There's the space. Keeper can do nothing about it. He can't see the ball. Oh, what a chance for Taremi. And he smashed it in. And England caught napping. It's a great little pass into that space. Inside, Maguire. Here is Marcus Rashford on the ball for the first time. That didn't take long, did it? Watch this touch from Rashford. He just sends the defender all over the place with that little touch inside, and then the presence of mind just to roll it in there. Bellingham has sent Wilson racing away. Grealish is alongside him in the centre. It's Jack Grealish for England. It's 6. But he just lays it on a plate for Jack Grealish. Safi, pushed away by Pickford, who came into a bit of a crowd. Well, the referee has been called over to the monitor here to check for a possible penalty. And Rafael Klaus has said penalty. He slots it in, and Iran have a second goal.
You are listening to World Cup 24 here on the Lock Betting Podcast. You can follow Lock Betting on Twitter. It's at LockBetting.com. That's at LockBetting.com. The pin tweet on that account is always the P&L from the previous month. That was the month of October. That was the month where we delivered our 113th month in a row of transparent track profit. We are well on the way to month number 114. We've had a very, very impressive month so far. Took us a day and a half to get into this World Cup, but we have made significant money from the last 2 games, sweeping the Dutch game and almost sweeping the Wales game. Had it been a tie at half-time, we would have swept that game, but we ended up landing the draw at the price of 14-5. So big winner there along with the under. So we are up and running in the World Cup and we look to continue making money. If you want to get all the plays, head over to lockbetting.com. Sign up as early as you can to make sure that you don't miss the futures plays. It's still okay to sign up now. The significant futures haven't started, but if you wait any longer, you will miss out on all of those. The website all time has a futures record of 81%. So it's definitely worth getting signed up in time to ride those futures, especially given the futures record all time is 81%. So looking back at that England performance, it's an interesting one because England absolutely battered this Iran team. The scoreline tells you that. The way England dominated the game tells you that. But I do think, and this is a bit of an odd take, but I do think had Iran managed to keep their first choice goalkeeper on, this game would have been different. Would England have still won? Yes. But I do think Iran would have been able to get to half time with their first choice goalkeeper in goal. The reaction of Carlos Queiroz when the substitution had to be made was clear. He put his hands on his head. That really doesn't do much for the confidence of the goalkeeper coming on. But we could tell why he did that when he came racing out for Bellingham's header, was way out of position, gave Bellingham an open goal to open the scoring. And from there, that completely changed the game. The under was dead. Anything on Iran to cover a handicap was dead. Anything with England and any under attached to it, even as far as under 4.5 goals, was pretty much dead, because Iran then had to come out and the game was completely opened up, and any plays on the under were relying on the Iran game plan to be sitting in with a low block. I expected England to win the game, but I expected Iran to get into half-time level, and with the opening goal coming at around about the 60 to 70 minute mark, with England then going on to maybe get a second once the game opened up. I didn't see anything more than a 2-0 win for England at best. So obviously this was far more impressive, but it was made easier with England being gifted the first goal, the game opening up, and then England just being a much better footballers and picking them apart. Although in saying that, England were impressive from the start. They were creating chances from the very beginning. Although they weren't clear-cut, England did hit the crossbar prior to scoring their goals. So it was deserved, no complaints. Sometimes you're just on the wrong end of a game. But I do think that Iran are still a team that could be dangerous in this group. I don't look at that game between USA and Wales and think that that was the decider. And because it's a draw, the results are going to be determined by what Wales do against England and what USA do against England. And the Iran game is an automatic. Far from it. Because in those games, they can still sit in with a low defensive block. Those players don't have as many quality players as England. USA aren't going to rip Iran apart. Wales aren't going to rip Iran apart. It's going to be a far more difficult game, and Iran are dangerous on the counter-attack. The fact they can score 2 goals against England proves that they're dangerous. One was a gift with the penalty, which wasn't. But they did open England up for that first goal, and they'll be able to do that to USA and Wales as well. So I still think this group is wide open, but a very, very impressive start for England. It's reflected in the futures market, with England now moving to somewhere between 6-1 and 7-1 when they started the competition at 9-1. So they're moving closer to the price that they were before they started the year very, very poorly, where, as we know, England haven't won a single game in 2022 until today. One other thing it's worth noting is that it's very tough to cash unders in this tournament when we're getting 15% extra game time with all of the injury time that's being added on. So that's definitely something worth looking at. I was high on unders, and obviously the unders have cashed in 3 of the first 4 games, even with that extra time. But if you're borderline on an under, be careful as we progress through the tournament, especially if this injury time is going to continue. Moving on to tomorrow's slate, and we start with a game that I definitely don't think will be going under, as I think Argentina will start with a commanding victory over Saudi Arabia. They are the 1-9 favourites to win the game. It's 15-2 on the draw, and it's 22-1 here on the Saudis. I think Argentina are going to start with a dominating performance, very similar to what they did against UAE in their last friendly, except I don't think they'll take the foot off their gas in the second half. But at the same time, Saudi Arabia are better than UAE, which is why they are at the World Cup. So I think Argentina will play 2 halves here, and I think they'll win both halves. I think Argentina to win both halves is a good bet. I think Argentina to cover a -2 handicap is a good parlay piece. But ultimately what I've settled on is Argentina to win 2-0. By the way, I also like Argentina at under 4.5 goals. But I've settled on Argentina to win 2-0. I don't see Saudi Arabia scoring here in this game. I don't see them getting anywhere near the Argentina goal. I expect Argentina to boss this game from start to finish and to level the world record tally of Italy of 37 games unbeaten going into that Mexico game, looking to break that world record. Argentina have won their last 4 games without conceding, and they face a Saudi Arabia team who've drawn a blank in 3 games against South American opponents in order to prepare for this 2022 World Cup. So a win 2-0 definitely appeals for Argentina. I think we're going to see a win which is maybe 3 or 4-0. I think that would be the scoreline I would go for. Argentina have won their last 5 games by at least 3 goals, and that includes a comfortable win over top caliber opposition in the European champions Italy. And Saudi Arabia, they lost their opener against Russia 4 years ago by 5-0. So I would expect something similar, although I don't think Argentina are going to win by 5-0. But I do expect a 3 or 4-0 victory here for the Argentinians, a clean sheet especially, given that they have 6 clean sheets in their last 7 games. So Argentina to nil at a price of 7-10 will be my main lean for tomorrow's first game. Up next, we look at a game here between Denmark and Tunisia, where Denmark are the 4-7 favourites. It's 11-4 on the draw, and it's 21-4 here on Tunisia. You can get Denmark at around about 4-6 on the money line if you do shop around, but I'm looking to take Denmark into tack on the under 4.5 goals. This gets me to 5-6 minus 120. I definitely don't see 5 goals in this game, as I see Tunisia implementing negative tactics here to try and win this game on the counter-attack or on the break. You're going to see this a lot here in the group stages. There's a lot of top teams going up against inferior teams, but the inferior teams are very well organised, which is why they're at the World Cup. So everybody can make themselves difficult to beat. Even Iran were capable of that until obviously their game plan went out of the window. But they are capable of setting up that low block and succeeding with that. Prior to getting battered by England today, Iran had a lot of success against big teams and were able to avoid heavy defeats. It's just happened to be England's day in this particular game. I think Tunisia are going to sit in with some success, but ultimately I think Denmark have enough quality to get the breakthrough. So I think Denmark win it, but I think your under 4.5 goals will be safe. I'm looking at maybe a 1-0, 2-0 win here for Denmark. Denmark have scored exactly twice in 4 of the last 6 competitive games and have actually won 2-0 on 2 occasions, while Tunisia, they've conceded 21 goals in the last 10 World Cup matches. They've won just 2 of the last 15 World Cup fixtures and have conceded twice or more in 5 of the last 7. So I'm looking for Denmark to win this by a couple of goals. I see Tunisia sitting in deep and frustrating them for the first half. Denmark eventually getting the breakthrough, and when the game opens up, I do think Denmark will go on and get the second, much like I thought the England and Iran game would play out. So hopefully we do see the correct game script for this game between Denmark and Tunisia tomorrow. Up next, we look at Mexico versus Poland. This is a really important game because it could decide who ultimately goes second in the group. If Argentina are going to be this dominant force to go on and win the group, then Poland and Mexico are going to determine second place. Mexico are the 6-4 favourites in this game. It's 21-10 on the draw, and it's 2-1 on Poland. Mexico's record is a little bit fraudulent defensively because they don't play strong opposition. So they may look strong defensively, but when they play top caliber opposition, they do concede. And Poland are in that bracket mainly because they've got a world-class striker here in Robert Lewandowski. Lewandowski scored 13 goals for Poland since the start of 2021 and has been enjoying a good start to life as a Barcelona player. So I do think Poland with him can get on the score sheet. But I also think Mexico can score, given that Poland have conceded in all but 1 of their last 6 games. And Mexico have scored in 5 of their last 6. So I think both teams to score, being offered up at plus money here, given the data, is a very, very good way to go. And we will take that as our selection at the price of 11-10 here for this one. The final game sees France starting their World Cup campaign, and they are the 1-4 favourites to beat Australia. 5-1 on the draw and 12-1 on the Australians. I think Australia are the weakest team in this group. I think they're even weaker than Tunisia. Australia never really faced top caliber opposition, so I think this is going to be a shock to the system. I expect France to run out comfortable winners. I don't think France are going to retain their World Cup, and I think they have a lot of injury problems to overcome when you look at Nkunku, Benzema, Kante and Pogba all not being here. But they definitely have enough quality on the pitch to win this game. And when you're looking at Kylian Mbappe, this is a player who, if he wants to win the Golden Boot and make an impact here at this World Cup, he needs to start strong, and I think he needs to make some contributions here in this game. Mbappe has made a very, very strong start to the season in France. He has scored 2 of France's last 3 goals and has 12 goals for his national team since the start of 2021. And he scored 19 competitive goals in 20 appearances for PSG so far this season. But my main pick for this game is for France to win 2-0, much like the Argentina game. I don't see Australia scoring. 4 of France's last 5 wins have seen them win with a clean sheet. France won their opener at the 2018 World Cup. They won their opener against Germany at the Euros. They know how to start a tournament, and I think they'll start with a convincing win here. I'm looking for a 2 or 3-0 victory here for France. Australia have lost to nil twice this year, including a 2-0 defeat against Japan. And I see something similar here in this one. So that is your breakdown for all of the games for Matchday 3. Get all of my official plays. Sign up over at lockbetting.com. We'll be back tomorrow to break down all the matches for Matchday 4. So until then, good luck with all of your bets as always. And thanks for listening.